Are you all set and ready to create a plan that gets you to win 2021? A lot of us towards this time of the year start planning for an amazing next year. We start setting out goals, we start taking out ambitions and visions, but very often we find ourselves struggling in about month 2 or 3. It has been seen again and again that most people give up on their goals within the first 90 days of starting the year. While that is true for most people, some people, when they set their awesome goals, are also able to achieve them. In this video, I'll show you how to set up awesome goals. Goals that are exciting, ambitious, powerful, and at the same point of time, they're goals that you will actually achieve. I'll show you why these goals work, and I will also show you some key elements that you need to consider as you are creating and working towards these goals so you actually achieve them. What I will also share with you is a complete planner for 2021 designed specifically for you. As the leaders of the coach training industry, we knew that we need to empower you to create extraordinary results, which is why this year we are giving away an absolutely free planner. You'll be able to download this planner later in this video. Now, before we learn about awesome goals, let's learn about how you may be currently setting your goals. See, most goals, while they may seem like have come from within, are actually a reflection of the society that we hang out with. The messages that we are listening, the goals that other people have, inspire us to write our own personal goals. Very often it is found that when you're writing your goals, if you have ambitious people around you, you'll tend to have ambitious goals. If you have realistic people around you, you will tend to have realistic goals. If people around you can seem to dream big, you will tend to not dream big. And that is why most of the goals, even if they may feel like they're coming from within, often are triggered by external motivators. We look at other people and their goals, and by social contagion, take upon those goals as our own goals. We start to see what somebody else wanted to achieve in their lives as something that we want to achieve in our lives. While there is nothing wrong from borrowing a great idea from other people, when we borrow these ideas unconsciously, we are setting ourselves up to create a life that we may not even want. Another way we end up borrowing goals is when we look at people that we aspire to be like. You see, because the power of social media, we tend to follow certain individuals. These individuals become legends in our minds, and a lot of times we aspire to become them. Well, aspiring to be somebody that you think is ahead of you in the journey is flawed. You see, to look at someone and be inspired is a great thing because it inspires you to be more of you. It inspires you to the possibility that may lay ahead of you. But when you aspire to be like somebody, you tend to give the power to them to define your goals. The same problem tends to happen. Our goals are not driven by us, it's driven by somebody else. So most goals that you may have set in the past was a reflection of either society or people that you follow. Let's turn inwards to find what is a great and awesome goal. Awesome goal setting is designed so you create goals and you also have a purpose and a meaning to those goals. Let me break it down for you. We are going to use Awesome Goals acronym to define personal goals that are actually in alignment with you. A is for ambition. Most goal setting exercises tend to ask you to put a goal that is realistic. Well, having realistic goals may seem like the right idea. It is never something that will create a great version of you or the version that you would really be excited about. A year ago, one of my clients wanted to set really realistic goals. They wanted a reasonable amount of growth in the company. They wanted a reasonable amount of success in the company. And that is why they wanted to grow by 20%. They wanted to increase their revenues by 20%. I inquired why they believed that they could only grow by 20%. I saw that the business had really good foundations and there was no reason for them to settle for marginal growth. They replied that they were being realistic. They thought it was the right idea. When I sat down with their team, I invited the team to think about their goals without any restrictions, without thinking about what's possible, without thinking about if they had team for it or money for it, resources for it. And when I removed all those barriers from them, we realized that they were actually way more ambitious than what they had initially set themselves up for. They were aiming to double the company in a span of 12 months. They were all excited. See, ambition is exciting, and excitement generates great amount of energy that propels us to a future that otherwise may seem unimaginable. And that is exactly what happened with this company. This company, when I previously chatted with them, was aiming for 20% growth. They now were aiming for 100% growth. They grew their revenues by 100% in a year. Yes, this company, because of their crazy ambition, actually doubled the revenue in the scope of a year. I want to invite you to ambition. You see, life is there to have fun and joy with, and when we try to contain ourselves in a realistic goal, in a realm of possibility that is limited by our own imagination, we tend to not play the game of life in the way it's meant to be played, which is with joy and fun and risk and creativity. When you invite ambition to your goals, you create exciting goals, goals that will propel you, force you to become a bigger, better version of yourself. The W for awesome goals is why. A lot of times we write down what is the goal, what is it that we want to achieve, but we very rarely write down why is that goal important. If you don't write the reason for why a goal is important, a lot of times that goal will not register in your conscious mind as something that is important. And if it doesn't become important, it doesn't take priority in our lives. And when it doesn't take priority in our lives, well, it's very unlikely that we are going to actually work towards it. And if we don't work towards it, well, we are not going to get the goal. Which is why it's so very important is to not only write down the goal that you have, but write down why do you have that goal? Why is that goal so important? What would happen if you wouldn't achieve that goal? These are important questions to ask yourself as you write down your amazing, ambitious goals. Once you have identified your why, then comes the E. E is for, is it executable? You cannot set yourself up to a goal that is so exciting that it overwhelms you. You want to find a way that it can be executed. That may mean that your goal is for an extended timeline. It doesn't have to limit to the container of the next year or the next few months. Your vision and your goal can be for 2 years, 3 years. I personally prefer to set out 3-year awesome goals. And the reason why I do that, because it gives me so much space and I don't feel overwhelmed or stressed or anxious because I am so very excited and so very ambitious. So try and see if you can make your goals executable. Not just ambitious, but also executable. There could be action that can be taken on the daily that will allow you to continue to make progress around your awesome goals. Once you've identified the executable elements of your goal, now you want to make sure that it's specific. A lot of goals become arbitrary. I want to get blank. Make it specific. When you identify your goals and you give specificity to it, it becomes clearer to your mind as to what are you really chasing. Are you chasing that money, or are you chasing the specificity of the experience that you would have when you had that money? It is very important to be very specific with your goals also because specificity drives our attention, which is why you want to find a way to be real specific with each of your goal items. Don't just say, I want to have a car. Tell exactly which car you want. Be specific with it. You want to be able to know that you are actually creating progress on the track. So you want to find specific ways to be able to track your performance. If you are not being specific of the goal, how will you be specific of the steps that need to happen for that goal to happen? Once you have defined your specific goal, now you want to make sure that this specific goal is also objective. Being objective means that do you have a sense of clarity of steps that need to be taken for you to be able to achieve your goals? What is step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that needs to happen for your goal to become the truth in the coming months or coming years? You can reverse engineer your objective steps to get the outcome of the goal. Then comes M, which is for measurable. How are you going to measure day-to-day performance, day-to-day progress towards your goal? What are those measures that you can put in place that will tell you that the direction of travel that you're having right now is the right direction of travel? You want to find out if there is a way to measure your monthly performance, your weekly performance, because when you put those measurable steps, you now have a way to consistently and continuously be able to track your progress towards your goal. And that brings me to the final E. E is for an expiration date. You see, when there are goals that don't have any timeline, they tend to take a really long period of time to manifest themselves. While I am a proponent of living in the present moment and enjoying the present moment, if you want your dreams to come true, put it on an expiring timeline. I've learned that goals come true faster when we put a timeline to it. When we say that by this particular year, I am going to do this, we tend to actually take action towards it right now. By a particular date, I'm going to do this. That forces us to be able to move towards that target. You see, when I became a father, I realized that my health started to deteriorate. I started to not prioritize my well-being and my health as much as I used to. And because of that, I started gaining a lot of weight and started to see some health challenges, and my energy was dwindling a lot. Which is where I said, if I want to get healthy, I need to put myself on a timeline to fix my health in a short burst of time. This is where I committed myself to running something that is called a Spartan race. It's a really difficult race to run here in the United States, and I chose a date that was 6 months later from the date that I decided I need to change something about my life to get fitter and healthier. Well, I ran that race. I finished that race. It was difficult, but I could complete it. But what happened in those 6 months leading up to the race were precious. I was eating healthier, I was running, I was exercising every day, and I became better energetically and physically. It was important to me to reclaim my health, and putting a timeline towards reclaiming my health got me focused. This is why an expiring timeline is so very important in your goals. So those are the 7 very important variables of the awesome goal setting process. If you have all of these 7 elements in your goal setting, you'll be excited about your goals, you'll be energized about your goals, and you will achieve your goals a lot more easily than you have previously achieved them. Now, here is something that you also want to remember. One of the key factors of getting to your goals is setting yourself up in a way where you can constantly make progress. If you don't have this support ecosystem, it is very likely that when there would be times of lack of motivation, you might end up in a place where you're not working on your goals, and then you might beat yourself up and go away from the path of actually achieving your goals. I have an approach that will help you build an ecosystem that actually supports your goal. This approach is called HAM, H-A-A-M. H is for habits, A is for accountability, A is for achievement and rewards, and M is for motivation triggers. Till the time you have all 4 of these in place, even if you have moments of weakness, these 4 things or one of these 4 things will pull you back through and get you back on track to achieve your goals. I talk a lot more about the HAM approach inside the planner that is available for download below this video. Here is something that you ought to know. Without a plan, most of the dreams just stay dreams. If you want to achieve your dreams, you gotta plan for it. You gotta take action towards it. This planner will help you take action towards your dreams. This is why we wanna offer this to you absolutely for free. So go ahead and click on the link below so you can go check out the planner that we created specifically for you as a coach. If you love this video, go ahead and hit that like button. Tell me what you loved about this video, what were some of the takeaways of the awesome goal setting process in the comment section below. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. We post new videos every single week for you to be able to achieve your dreams and create a great impact in the world. Thank you so much for watching. This is Ajit Navlakha, and you're watching this on EverCoach.